What's up, man? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Make sure y'all check me out on YouTube at Roddy Rod Show. You can follow me right here if you're on X at DJ Roddy. I'm also on live right now on Instagram and YouTube. If you're on YouTube, man, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you leave a couple of comments under the video as well. Today we're gonna talk about this Luigi Mangione. He got picked up and they captured him. And I'm gonna let y'all take a look at this press conference real quick. Then I'm gonna get into it.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset. NYPD detectives are en route to Pennsylvania as we seek to interview the subject further. This apprehension is thanks to the tireless work of the greatest detectives in the world, and of course, the strong relationships we have with our local law enforcement partners. On every level, local, state, and federal, we all serve the same public safety mission. And this case, which captured the attention of an entire nation, is another example of how connected we are and how important it is to work together, share information, and pursue every lead. For just over 5 days, our NYPD investigators combed through thousands of hours of video, followed up on hundreds of tips, and processed every bit of forensic evidence, DNA, fingerprints, IP addresses, and so much more to tighten the net. We deployed drones, canine units, and scuba divers. We leveraged the domain awareness system, Argus cameras, and conducted aviation canvasses. And our detectives also went door to door, interviewing potential witnesses and doing the good old-fashioned police work that our investigators are famous for. This combination of old-school detective work and new-age technology is what led to this result today. And we must also acknowledge the instrumental role the media and the public played in this case. The images that we shared with the public were spread far and wide, and the tips we received led to the recovery of crucial evidence. We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations. This is the third time in 3 weeks that a member of the public has seen something and said something and done something that led to a high-profile arrest. The triple stabbing homicide in Manhattan, the gunpoint robberies in Queens during which an NYPD officer was shot, and now this. Now, the case will continue through the criminal justice process, and while we are proud of today's accomplishment, we must, of course, remember that a family is in mourning. I want to again extend my sympathies to Brian's family, his co-workers, and all who knew him. Finally, I want to thank the women and men of the NYPD, especially our Detective Bureau personnel, with a strong assist from our intelligence analysts. We also thank the SAC of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division, Leslie Rodriguez Bekshies. And I want to commend the staff of the Manhattan DA's office and especially DA Alvin Bragg. He has been working with us 24/7 on this case, and I am incredibly grateful for his partnership. I'll now pass it along to our great Chief of Detectives, Joe Kenny, who will provide additional information. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. As the Commissioner stated earlier, a male was taken into custody today in Altoona, Pennsylvania this morning. He has been identified as Luigi Nicholas Mangione. He's a male, 26 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York. Members of the NYPD Detective Bureau are currently traveling to Pennsylvania with members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to interview this subject.
Once I start discussing
this case was brought to a successful conclusion based on the coordinated effort between numerous NYPD units, including the Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureau, our federal partners at the FBI, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and of course, members of the Altoona Police Department in Pennsylvania. On Thursday, one day after this crime was committed, the NYPD released a photo of the shooter in this case. This picture was obtained by the NYPD during one of their extensive video canvasses. We took that photograph and we asked for the public's help in identifying this subject, and the public responded. Hundreds of tips began to pour into our hotline. Each tip was investigated thoroughly, and we began to release additional photographs as they came into our possession. The NYPD provided these photos to numerous media outlets. Local, national, and international outlets released the photo via television, print, social media, and online content. Luckily, a citizen in Pennsylvania recognized our subject and called local law enforcement. Members of the Altoona Police Department responded to the call, and based on their investigation, they notified the NYPD. This investigation is still active and ongoing. Thank you very much.
All right. I guess that's pretty much it. Man, what y'all think about this? I'm finna put some links up in here. So if anybody wanna join me first, I gotta drop some links to so people can come on live, and if they want to react and let me know what their thoughts is about this whole situation. I like to hear from them. Doesn't matter who you is. You know, you don't gotta be following me or anything like that. I put the link. If you're on YouTube, it should be at the top of the chat. I'm gonna pin it to the top of the chat. If you on X, I'm gonna put it actually in the actual post. Well, I'll drop it in the comments, but I'm gonna actually just put it in the post as well. But if you can't find it, you can always just go to the general post. If you know what I'm talking about, those who normally use Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. If you just go to just a post of this video, it should be there. But I'm going to put one also in this chat box. Now, what y'all think about this? Because I know y'all have some thoughts on this as well as I do. I mean, I believe that the guy is the shooter. I believe that's who they're looking for. But I don't know if this could be something that's possibly a, a plant or was he just doing this just to somebody on here? Or was he just doing this was he a disgruntled customer or something like that? I don't know. Could possibly be a disgruntled customer. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. But I did read where it said that he had some family members who were having issues. I guess they got denied or something through some type of health care. But I'm under the assumption that they said he was very wealthy. He went to some pretty decent schools and whatnot. So that just tells me if somebody got denied, they didn't have the funds to just pay for these services. Maybe they didn't. Or since he had certain ideologies, maybe he was just a disgruntled person, because if you notice what's been going on recently, it's more so people who have college degrees. He used to read a lot of stuff about Ted Kaczynski. You know, Ted Kaczynski was a pretty smart guy, the Unabomber. And some of these people, you know, they're pretty educated, and they could possibly see things from a different lens, and just, you know, where it's just like, well, from the outside looking in, it's not fair to everybody. I think that could be the case as well. Where some people, you know, they're very privileged, but they can also see that their privilege has enabled some things to happen for them that it just wouldn't typically happen for anybody else. And they, you know, they are disgruntled about that, and they just kind of want to do something about it. As vice versa, as people who, you know, they don't get to experience life a certain way, so they're disgruntled that way. You know, I kind of feel as if we're going back to a time where you remember the whole like going postal stuff like that. I think we kind of easing back into that with the way that prices are. Insurance has been treating people, not only health insurance, but just any type of insurance, car insurance, home insurance. I mean, you heard the stories about people, you know, having issues trying to file claims with their home insurance. Maybe a storm or something come through, and then they denied the claim, saying, "Oh, that didn't happen because of the hurricane, or it happened because of something." You know, it's just all of these different factors that's going on right now, and I feel like that could be a part of this issue as well. Uh, Let me see if I got so it's I got an article I just wanted to kind of read, just give some more insight on it. Says the docket shows 26-year-old Mangione is also charged with possession of a loaded firearm, possession of a forged instrument, and criminal possession of a weapon. The forged instrument is the fake New Jersey driver's license he allegedly used to check into the hostel on the Upper West Side. Mangione remains in custody of the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections after being arrested at McDonald's on Monday morning, pending his extradition to New York. Mangione has also been charged with 5 crimes in Pennsylvania, including carrying a gun without a license, forgery, falsely identifying himself to authorities, and possessing instruments of crime, according to newly released criminal complaint. I got a actual video of him being taken into custody. I'll just play that while I'm reading this article. The charging document alleges that Mangione lied about his identity to police and carried the ghost gun without a license. He began shaking when police asked if he had been in New York recently. Court records said he is scheduled to go before a judge in Western Pennsylvania, where he was being held on gun charges. Investigators are working to determine whether anyone else was involved in Thompson's death. Mangione is being ordered to be held without bail after his brief court appearance. Officials say the 26-year-old from Maryland also has ties to San Francisco and was a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. His last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii, which they did state in the press conference. I guess they have a picture of the gun here. This is the image of the ghost gun that was recovered from Luigi Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So I don't know if that's the actual gun that he used, but this is a gun that they did recover from him. A customer thought Mangione looked suspicious, like the shooting suspect, and alerted the employees. Now, I do kind of have some doubts with that, because we did see him pull his mask down. We saw pieces of his face, but you didn't get to see his whole face, like including his head, his hair, the way the back of his head was shaped, and all of these different things. Well, I haven't seen any pictures like that. And he went into a McDonald's and he was identified like that. That's kind of suspicious to me. You know, I know we have a lot of thoughts of people who are conspiracy theorists and whatnot. And if you are a conspiracy theorist, or you do have thoughts about this, come up here, let me know. Like I say, it is a link in the comment section if you want to join me and tell me, what are your thoughts about this? Do you believe that this happened like they said it happened? Do you believe he is the suspect? I would like to hear from you at this time. Uh, I don't have any issues with anybody coming up here. Like I say, you don't have to be following me. You don't have to be subscribed to anything or anything like that. You also don't have to be cammed up. If you just want to come on here with your mic, that would be appreciated as well. I don't have any issues with that. Where was I at? Said the ghost gun was capable of firing a 9mm round and a suppressor. The gun and suppressor were consistent with the weapon used in the murder. Okay. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch said the gun may have been made on a 3D printer. See, so this guy, I mean, he's pretty smart. Probably had the funds to do different things. As you see, he had enough money to get a ghost gun made with a 3D printer. It could fire the bullets. So that's probably how he was going places undetected with this weapon. And like I was thinking, it just could be he just disgruntled with the system. I think it's a lot of people that are disgruntled with the system, not just people who have, but some of the people who have nots and whatnot. We got a lot of issues going on in this society where some people are getting more than others and they probably shouldn't deserve it or they shouldn't get it, but it is what it is. And they did charge him with the murder. That's what it said a few seconds ago. Let's see what I got. I just seen another article.
Of United Healthcare CEO, the NYPD just filed first-degree murder charges against Luigi Mangione. Authorities arrested him this morning about 100 miles east of Pittsburgh. Investigators say Mangione had a ghost gun consistent with the weapon used to kill Brian Thompson right outside a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. They also found several fake IDs and a 3-page handwritten document indicating he had some ill will toward corporate America.
A 3-page document indicating he has some ill will towards corporate America, which says a lot. Like I say, they did state that he had
Luigi Mangione.
How do you know him? What school did you guys go to? How long did you know him for?
So I knew him.
Okay.
I came into the school in 8th grade. I knew him 8th grade throughout high school. But I obviously knew him. We were a small class, small school, only about 400 kids in the high school, maybe like 85 to 100 in my class. So everybody knew everyone, really.
So what were your interactions? Like, how well did you know him? How many times would you speak to him? What do you remember?
I would say I spoke to him pretty frequently. He was like a leader in our class, so I'm not quite sure the exact clubs because it's a while back, but he was like a leader of clubs. He was in many clubs. He was also like a soccer player as well. He played baseball, I believe, in middle school, but I think he stopped after that. But everyone just knew him as like a quiet, reserved, nice kid, and he was obviously really intelligent, and everybody can tell that by his resume, of course. Yeah.
So he was a valedictorian
Yeah.
and had a speech at your...
Yeah, so he spoke at our graduation. Every year they have like somebody who's, exceeds academically and in and out of the classroom, and they have them speak in front of our high school. It's weird saying it, but yeah, he was that person that we chose to speak, so yeah.
Okay, so you've been following this case pretty closely. When you saw the photo with him wearing his mask, what were your thoughts?
My first thoughts, well, I've had like a history just following like high-profile cases. It was just interesting to me personally. When I saw the photo, like I thought it was like a 35-year-old guy. It was like he's a good-looking dude, like sharp jawline kind of thing. But I had no hindrance that it was him. I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like that face is familiar, but it was like subconsciously, not really like on the forefront.
So when did you find out, and what's your reaction to it?
So when I found out, I had like 25, 30 text messages from all different people from like, I'm from Baltimore, obviously, where we went to school together. And everybody that I know from Baltimore is reaching out to me like, did you know this guy? Did you go to school with him? He graduated in the same class as you. And of course I, replied to all of them after a while and said, yeah. So my initial reactions were just shock, surprise, And I just would never expect someone who went to our school to, be involved in this. So it was just shock, really. I'm still shocked.
Shoot, I mean, that's with anybody. We really don't know what's going on in a lot of people's heads. You don't know what's going on in my head right now. You see me on camera, you see me going through these videos talking about these different topics, but you have no idea what's actually going on in my head. You don't know what type of thoughts are running through my mind, what happened to me today, which is affecting my train of thought, which may be affecting my emotions as well. Uh, just like I don't know the people who may be listening to this. I don't know what they thoughts are. I would assume a lot of people that are listening to me right now would be good people, but that's not necessarily the case. It could be an actual murderer or something across this medium that's listening to me as we speak, who may like my pages. It could be a stalker. It could be any types of people. So when you dealing with a lot of people, you don't really know what's going on in the background with them. And this, like I said, this guy, he was probably upset. Something probably happened to his family, or which others may think that this is a psyop, that he was put up to this by somebody in the government. Maybe he was a plant, maybe, or actually he really didn't do it, and maybe he's the fall guy, or maybe they're just using him and they're just gonna whisk him away. They acting like they're gonna arrest him and do all of these things, but they actually wanted him to take this person out, and now they're gonna send him off to some island. All these conspiracy theories. We have all of these different thoughts that's going on from different people, different groups. So, especially in this country, when you have a lot of things that has happened to people and the way the government has treated a lot of people, as far as the lies, not being totally honest with us about certain things. And I get that this government can't tell us everything, but some things it just seems as if they have lied to us so much that we just don't trust the news. We don't trust anything we hear on TV. That's why you see platforms like X blowing up, platforms like TikTok, and then you have mainstream media, which is mad that these platforms are blowing up because a lot of people are just getting their news specifically from these people, when it's almost like, why should I go on mainstream media and try to get the news from you when I know you to lie to me, to make me feel a way, and it's just totally not true. You go places and report on things falsely, or you report on them one-sided, which makes me feel as if I should feel the same way that you feel, when that's not necessarily true, when I can actually either go to TikTok or X, or formerly known as Twitter, and actually talk to people who are on the ground in these places and say, hey, is this going on? Is that going on? Is the government coming down there giving you some type of assistance like they say they are? We're hearing reports that, as for example, in North Carolina, when they had the planes going over, people who were trying to give supplies, and they were tearing up, with the winds from the helicopters was tearing up the products and all of the services that people was trying to give to the local community, and people was just trying to figure out what is really going on, you know. So, like I say, all of this just stems from just people not really trusting this government, not trusting the media, and all of these different things.
What year did you graduate?
2016.
Okay, from 2016 until now, have you spoken to him at all, or seen anything on Facebook? Are you friends with him on Facebook? Or?
I followed him on Instagram. I think we went back and forth here and there, just touching base with each other. I hadn't spoke to him in maybe 4 years prior to this, though. Recently, when we went right out of high school, we would check up on each other here and there. But I do know that a lot of people that I went to high school with that were a little bit closer to him said they lost contact with him about a year and a half ago. So,
is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just praying for the family, of course, and Gilman community, my high school, and just Stanford and Penn community as well. I pray for them. I hope this doesn't have a negative perception on them.